Slugs. Why are there slugs? I don't understand. Do you know what a slug is, by the way? Slug is those little tiny things, and they're just slimy. They can grow little, big. I've seen big old fat ones, big fat ones. They love strawberries. They love my strawberries. They love my lettuce. And at night, they love to gobble up. And they only do it at night. Interesting. During the day, they disappear down in the soil. Out of the way that nobody can find them. I just think of slugs. So many of us in this life work. We go through life working and trying things. But, some of the things that bother me about our generation right now, they don't seem to want to work. People, they want something for nothing, let's say. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of you that's working. I understand that. Because, without work, you're going to get nothing. I don't care who you are, I don't care how wealthy you are, how wealthy your parents are. If you don't work, you're going to get nothing. It's the slug. I look at the news and I think so much crime. Well, there's some of it's being committed today during the day. All these protesters and everybody claiming a right for this. They want the right to ride naked down the street. Another one wants the right to smoke marijuana, and inside of a building. No, they can't smoke cigarettes inside of a building, but marijuana should be different. They should be able to smoke marijuana inside of a building. Do these people work? Do they do something? I've heard they get paid to protest. I guess they're working there. They're getting paid to protest. Doesn't sound very productive work. I guess you could, export it. Wonder if they get a fee for exporting protests through the news. Wonder if the news gets an export tax on protesting. Anyway, but there's a lot of crimes. You wake up next morning, you hear these robberies, somebody breaks into a house. And a lot of this stuff's done at night. Reminds me of slugs. They live off of somebody else. Somebody else's labor they live off of. They don't want to produce for themselves. They'll steal, they'll handouts, they will whatever it takes so they can have what they want. Whoever those are. Those theys are. I've been thinking about that quite a bit lately. Slugs and work. I think of work. No, I don't think any of us really, really enjoy work. Well, let me take that back. I think if we loved our work, it's not work anymore. The word work does not exist. I think where it comes into is because we have to do something we don't like to do. You're doing something you make money, and of course, none of you are ever happy with enough money you make. We got these new laws now, this new, what's it called? Minimum wage law. It took a minute to get there. Minimum wage law. The minimum wage law came up and crossed, I think, all states and everything, and came up to help people earn more money. It's okay, but the problem with minimum wage is people are going to have to pay it anyway. Is the businesses going to absorb it? You know, there's a big scream about big business, corporations. They should share. They should share. And they do share. They up their rates. They up the price of your milkshake. And you'll go in and your milkshake's 5 cents higher or 10 cents higher. Why? Because they have to pay the people inside that's making your milkshake more money. Is the businessman going to be able to absorb that? No. Because if he does, or she does, there's not going to be any milkshake. And pretty soon, no hamburgers, no nothing, and it's over. It's over. And it's not just one business, it's millions of them. Okay? I go back to the days, let me tell you a story. I used to farm in Idaho, and potato seed, certified potato seed was our main crop. And we had such a short season to produce it in. The valley, I'm going to make a story. The next story I'm making, I'm going to talk about my life in Idaho and the short season in the valley and growing up. But today I'm going to talk about work. Years ago, I was like 14, 15. I was 14 when I started driving the potato harvester out there in the field. And I had a windrower, and the guy was 5 times my age running the windrower in another tractor. And he would dig and put them on one side, and I'd come with the digger and dig some more rows out and pick up the ones that he'd put in the center of the row. And I'd pick all that up, and they had a truck running really slow, like one mile an hour. Well, they might have got 2 miles an hour. But alongside, and I had to run these controls, and I was sitting in my seat like this, and I was looking forward, and I was looking back, and the potato truck was right there, and I had to make sure that truck didn't get out from underneath the boom, and I had to raise and lower the boom. I had all these hydraulic controls right here. Anyway, and I had 4 women, and most of them were younger kids, my age. In fact, most of them was older than me because I was only like 14 years old. These kids were all in high school, okay? And they'd let school out, and they'd been doing this for years. They'd let school out for 2 weeks every fall. And everybody in the valley jumped in and got work in the potato harvest. And we paid pretty good. Because all these kids, if they were willing to get out and work for 2 weeks, they made enough money to buy their school clothes and pay their fees and stuff and get themselves in school. And usually survive the year. 2 weeks work. We had to produce the potatoes. They were seed. We had producers that bought them from us, and we had to harvest them. Well, this big equipment, we had these chains and digger chains, and I had a pretty good sized tractor, and I was having to manage all this and watch it and make sure everything in the field was going, and the trucks were keeping up, and one truck would pull out and another one pull under the boom, and I'd raise it up and lower it back down in, and off we'd keep moving, and we had 4 girls on there. I think we had 5. 2 on one side and 3 on the other side of this table that went across. Their job was to pull the big clods and lots of vines that might come up. Sometimes we get clumps of potato vines and clods and stuff like that came up. Once in a while you got a part of a sprinkler pipe. Or what was really cool, old files, old hammers, old tools. This harvester would pick up everything. I mean, it's amazing. Sometimes they'd fall through the chain and click the chains, and chains would break, and then I'd have to crawl underneath and fix them all. But some of the darndest things that come up on that, been laying there they'd rusted out. They'd been laying there for hundreds of years. And we'd dig, and they'd come up with the potatoes across this table. And these girls were supposed to be picking the clods and the dirt and the rusty old files and the hammer I lost last year in the field, and I could never find it. And that's what they were supposed to be doing. One girl didn't do nothing. She didn't do nothing. She just stood there and rode and expected a paycheck. I watched her, and most all of them were older than me. So, at 14, I don't know, I was kind of like, what, junior high still, middle school? Yeah, it would have been. I wouldn't have gotten into high school yet, 18, yeah. Might have been a freshman in high school, it's hard to say. But anyway, my dad came out in the field to see how things were running, and I told him about it. I says, watch that girl in there. He watched her for a while, and he had me stop the harvester and everything, and he went and he says, okay, you're here, you're not here to ride. We're not going to pay you to ride. You have to work. Your job was to pick these clods and the old rusty files out, the sprinkler pipe and all this, this whatever it came upon. Maybe a snake. We didn't have any snakes. It just sounded cool. Sounded good for the show. But anyway, this girl got bent out of shape because she had to work. She wanted it for nothing. Well, she really got upset, and she decided she was starting to threaten my dad she was going to quit. My dad says, fine, quit. So she went and jumped off. Well, the other four, they were all girly. We came from a little tiny school and community, and I knew them all, and they knew me, and they all decided they wanted to quit too. So they all quit. Well, here was my dad. And he looked around, because we'd always hired people on the harvester, and in the cellar, we had a similar thing as the trucks would unload and then go into the potato piler and up and pile spuds in a big cellar. And my dad says, let's dig spuds. So off we went. And my uncle came out, same age as my dad. They stood up there and picked spuds, all this stuff out. You know something? We didn't notice any difference, whether we had 5 people on there or 2 older people. I didn't notice any difference. But I'm going to shorten this up. I watched, and I'd been working in spuds all my life, so I knew how the potato harvesters worked. I serviced it, I greased it, I maintained it, even at my young age. But I got looking at it and I thought, after we got done with the harvest and everything went fine, we got our potatoes in the cellar, 5 less mouths to feed. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, I think I can adjust this machine to work with nobody on that machine. And he says, really? I said, yeah, next summer, that's the fall, we dig harvest. Next summer I'm going to work on it. And I did. And by the next fall, when we started digging, we had nobody on that machine. And we dug the whole season, 2 weeks, with nobody on that machine. A lot of farmers came out and watched. They couldn't understand what we were doing. I did change some things inside the cellar, some of the tables I made some changes on so they'd work more efficient, because there was there was stuff going on in there. Old files, no snakes, sprinkler pipe, things. But I had to make some adjustments inside the cellar also. I made some tables with more rollers on to sift the dirt out and stuff before it got into the cellar and the spuds. Well, that's what is happening today. People want more money, or they don't want to work. And then there's companies that create robotic methods. Understand they can make a whole meal from clicking the machine, and it does it for you. I don't know how it does it. Probably the same way nobody understood how I could dig potatoes with anybody on the machine. But you know something? That's life. Those girls would have had a nice job, and they would have had jobs for other years to come. Minimum wage, we paid always better than minimum wage. In fact, farmers didn't have minimum wage. I hadn't even heard of what a minimum wage was till I came to the big city. We paid what we thought our crop was worth. And if we could pay more, we paid more. And it just depended on what we could sell our potatoes for or had sold them for, or what we set our price for to the wages of these people. Yeah, slugs. I think I'll put a slug right here so you can see it. Just want to in closing here. I was thinking about slugs in this show and just talk to you about. I'm going to read right here from this article. Everybody works. You do not grow unless you work. Got to have faith, testimony of the truth. It is like muscles of the arm. If you use it, it grows strong. If you put it in a sling, it grows weak and flabby. You want to become strong? You're going to work your muscles. How many's had a problem with their broke a leg or an arm or something? This shoulder right here, the doctor kind of muffed up on us, had 2 surgeries. One to fix the first surgery. 14 months. 8 weeks in a sling, it froze. I went around for 14 months. I could move from here out. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay. 14 months I was froze solid. Not until I got a different doctor and they went in and cut it open and redid it again. 5 screws, 2 surgeries. Because I was told not to move this arm. That's what happens when you don't work. If you don't work, you're not going to make any money. You're going to become flabby. You're going to put on weight. How can I say this? There's only one way. If you want something in this life, you're going to work for it. Okay? Like the slug. What does the slug do? If he didn't come out of his hole at night, wherever his hole is, okay, and eat my strawberries, he wouldn't survive either. He would be dead very shortly. But because he does at least come out and eat. That's all he does. Just eat and produce. I just thought of that. Eat and produce babies. Eat and produce babies. What a life. Eat and produce. Makes me think of people. You know, there's people on earth right now. They just eat and produce babies. Eat and produce babies. It's kind of like the slug. They don't accomplish much. They just go through life just eating, producing babies. You know, the females do anyway. I doubt slug. I don't know how you tell slug male from female. I have no idea. Work. That's what it's all about. You're going to accomplish nothing if you don't work. Okay? Work comes in different forms. You can use your mind. You can use your physical body. But if you don't use your physical body, your mind's going to die also. It takes everything in the human body working together to make it happen. Anyway, I'm Steve Allen, and this is the Country Boy Show. Hope you enjoyed my comments, and I'll be back with some more stories here in the real future. So anyway, come back and visit me soon. You can contact me at Steve@Sundog Film Productions. Sundog Film Productions is the mother company that produces this. You can also go to sundogfilmproductions.com, and that's the website. You're going to find out a little bit more about me, about the company and what we do. Anyway, have a good day, week, whatever, lifetime. I'll see you, and have a great day. I'm gone.